Hey everybody, it's Zach Hall. I'm back with my D&D 5th Edition Dungeon Master Tries to Learn Pathfinder 2nd Edition series. We are reading through the Pathfinder core rulebook, cover to cover. And because the classes are so heavy, instead of doing one video dedicated to a chapter, I'm instead breaking up each class into an individual video and spending about 30 minutes on each one. So previously we spent an hour building an alchemist with had a character sheet pulled up, took notes on the whole thing. So you can check the playlist or my channel to see that video. I spent 30 minutes on the barbarian, and we are now going to look through the 5th edition, not the 5th edition, the Pathfinder 2nd edition bard, comparing it from my personal experience as a 5th edition dungeon master. So what am I expecting right off the bat? I am expecting a magic user using some kind of performance, whether it's a musical instrument. I would love to be able to see the opportunity to do it not playing an instrument or singing, like perhaps, I mean, it is mostly flavor, but like having like a rapping bard, or even like I'd be interested in figuring out what would a mute bard look like. And so I do kind of want to see, because second edition was developed post D&D 5th edition, which is obviously the most popular version of the D20 system in this kind of fantasy role-playing genre. I want to see how it differentiates itself. Master of Artistry, Scholar of Hidden Secrets, okay, Captivating Persuader. Using powerful performances, influence minds, elevate souls to new heroics. Charismatic Leader, Counselor, Manipulator, Scholar, Scoundrel, or Virtuoso. Okay, cool. Charisma, obviously. Hit points, 8. That makes sense. During combat encounters, you use magical performances that alter the odds in favor of your allies. Confidently alternate between attacks, healing, and helpful spells as needed. I'm interested to see how proficient, like how well do they actually translate into non-arcane combat, because I do feel like if they are able to alternate between actually like ranged or melee attacks and being a spellcaster, that would be very cool, but not well represented in bards that I've seen. During social encounters, you persuade, prevaricate, and threaten with ease. So obviously social encounters is where a bard really does shine. While exploring your fount of knowledge, folk tales and legends and lore that provides a deeper context and helpful reconnaissance for the group's adventure. Your spells and performances inspire allies to greater discovery and success. In downtime, you can earn money and prestige with your performances, getting a name for yourself and acquiring patrons. Eventually, tales of your talents and triumphs might attract other bards to study your technique in a bardic college. You might have a passion for your art so strong that you forge a spiritual connection with it. You might take point when tact and non-violent solutions are required. You might follow your music, whether it's a mysterious fey creature, you might follow your muse, whether it's a mysterious fey creature, a philosophical concept, a psychic force, or a deity of art or music, and with its aid, learn secret lore that few others have. Others probably relish the opportunity to invite you to social events, either as performer or guest, but consider you to be something of a curiosity in their social circles. Underestimate you compared to other spellcasters, believing you are a little more than a foppish minstrel, overlooking the subtle power of your magic. Respond favorably to your social charm and abilities, but remain suspicious of your beguiling magic. That all tracks. I'm most curious about the focus on lore and saying confidently alternating between attacks, healing, and helpful spells during combat. Expert in perception, expert in will saving throws, trained in occultism, performance, and then 4 pleasure intelligence modifier. Trained in simple weapons, longsword, rapier, sap, short bow, short sword, and whip, and then trained in unarmed attacks. Light armor, trained in occult spell attacks and spell DCs. We haven't really gotten into much spellcasting in the first 2, so that's going to be kind of my first look at Pathfinder spellcasting, really. You draw magic from esoteric knowledge. You can cast occult spells using the cast a spell activity, and you can supply material, somatic, and verbal components when casting spells. Because you're a bard, you can usually play an instrument for spells requiring somatic or material components as long as it takes at least one of your hands to do so. If you use an instrument, you don't need a spell component pouch or another hand free. You can usually also play an instrument for spells requiring verbal components instead of speaking. Each day you can cast up to 2 first level spells. You must know the spells to cast them, and you learn them via the spell repertoire class feature. You have spell slots, okay. Heightened spells look similar to 5th edition. Cantrip, still a spell that doesn't use spell slots. Two first level spells and 5 cantrips. Add to your spell repertoire as you increase in level. We'll see that in the table probably. Yeah. 10th level spells. Fun. Though you gain them at the same rate your spell slots and the spells in your spell repertoire, yeah. If a feat or another ability adds a spell to your spell repertoire, it wouldn't give you an additional slot, yeah. Each time you level and gain... Every time you gain a level and learn new spells, you can swap out one of your old spells for a different spell. The spell can be a cantrip. Nice. You can retrain spells during downtime. Infuse your performances with magic to create unique effects called compositions. They're a special type of spell that often require you to use the performance skill when casting them. They're a focus type of spell. It costs 1 focus point to cast a focus spell, and you start with a focus pool of 1. You refill your focus pool during your daily preparations, and you can regain 1 focus point by spending 10 minutes using the refocus activity to perform, write a new composition, or otherwise engage in music, okay? Focus spells are automatically heightened to half your level rounded up, much like cantrips. They don't require spell slots. You can't cast them using spell slots. Taking feats can give you more focused spells and increase the size of your focus pool, though your focus pool can never hold more than 3 focus points. Okay, so focus points is a new thing. I don't know if it's a Pathfinder first edition thing that they carried over to 2nd edition, or if it's brand new. So that will be something that we will look at when we get to probably 300. That's probably somewhere in the spells. Maybe we're just playing the game. No. Maybe in skills. You learn the counter performance composition spell, protecting against auditory and visual effects. Interesting. And then you have composition cantrips. Wow, there's a lot of magic for bards to handle. Generally, only feats can give you more composition cantrips. You can't swap out composition cantrips. You learn the Inspire Courage composition cantrip, which boosts your allies' attacks, damage, and defense against fear. Kind of just sounds like giving inspiration to someone from 5th edition. But since Pathfinder doesn't do advantage, disadvantage. It would just be a boost. So okay, so the subclass, or the what do they call it in Pathfinder? I've already forgotten. Yeah, subclass. Enigma. If your muse is a creature, it might be a dragon or another worldly being. If a deity, it might be Eroi or Nethys. You gain the Bardic Lore feat and add True Strike to your spell repertoire. Maestro. Lingering Composition feat and add Soothe to your spell repertoire. Polymath. Oops. Sorry about that. Versatile Performance feat and add Unseen Servant. Oh, is that the only 3? I guess so. They'll probably add new ones kind of later in additional rulebooks. This all seems right. Lightning Reflexes, you get some signature spells. For each spell level, you have access to choose one spell of that level to be a signature spell. You don't need to learn heightened versions of signature spells separately. You can heighten them freely. So does that mean that you could learn a first level spell and you can cast it at 5th level, but it only counts as a first level spell? You can heighten these spells freely. I don't know what that means. I think that's what that means, but I do not know. Skill increases, expert spellcaster, great fortitude, resolve, weapon expertise, vigilant senses, perception goes to master. Magnum opus. You have tuned your spellcasting to the highest caliber. Add 2 common 10th level occult spells to your repertoire. You gain a single 10th level spell slot you can use to cast one of these 2 spells using Bard spellcasting. You don't gain any more 10th level spells as you level up, and you can't use 10th level slots with abilities that give you more spell slots or let you cast spells without expending spell slots. So you have to spend the 1 spell slot. All right. Bardic Lore, Lingering Composition. Just seems like feats give you access to more spells. Reach spell. You can extend a spell's range. I feel like at this point we kind of have to look at the Bardic spell list, because it's only been a little over 10 minutes. And it all just kind of seems like pretty standard stuff, nothing I wasn't expecting. You can use performance instead of diplomacy to make an impression, and instead of intimidation to demoralize. Couple of inspire feats, if that's how if you want to go support buffle or like buff. Harmonize, you can perform multiple compositions simultaneously. Harmonized composition doesn't end if you cast another composition. And you can cast another composition on the same turn as a harmonized one. Cool. Wow, you can take a feat that lets you change out your signature spells. Okay, so this sample Dancer Bard does kind of give, like, you could potentially not do a out loud performance either through singing or an instrument and still be able to play bard, which seems cool. It just seems like a flavoring kind of thing, I guess. So yeah, it just seems like feats are adding composition cantrips, kind of changing the rules on your compositions or spell casting. Wow, if you chose an Enigma Muse and you're trained in like legendary in occultism, you can cast spells. You can cast one spell each day, even after you've run out of spell slots of that appropriate level. You just can't use the ability to cast a spell of your highest spell level. So at 16th level, you have access to... Wow, that was the end of the class. Okay. So at 16th level, you have access to 8th level spells. That means you could cast a 7th level spell, 4 7th level spells, or 4 of any other level. You just couldn't cast 8th. And then once you learn 9th, you could cast an 8th, just not a 9th. And you would never be able to use it to cast a 10th level spell for multiple reasons, I think. Let's look at the 20th level feats and see what the high level stuff is. See if requires a focus pool. You learn the Fatal Aria composition spell. Again, kind of like I think we're gonna have to skip to the spellcasting section to see what they are, because otherwise we don't really get to see what this class is doing. Okay, so you can add an additional 10th level spell slot. You can increase the number of focus points in your focus pool, or you are no longer limited to a single composition each turn or a single composition at a time. All previous composition effects continue for the remaining duration. Seems cool. All right, let's jump to the spellcasting section. Okay, so I pulled up the occult spell list. And I'm just going to kind of quickly look through. I love how simple these descriptions are. No direction. Find true north. Bing, bang, boom. And I mean, I'm sure that this is just the spell list and that there's more descriptions, but I just kind of want to see what's up with these. 10 minutes of, okay, Mind Link is pretty cool. Wow, you can predict whether a course of action brings good fortune. Augury. Okay, that's cool. Most of these look fairly, what I would expect. Where is composition? I'm going backwards to the book right now. I believe if I remember a page number, it was it was pretty far back, so maybe there's a different section on focus spells. Okay, some classes gain special spells that they cast using focus points instead of spell slots. Allegro, you can speed up an ally. That ally becomes quickened and use the additional action, so you get an extra action in a turn. and it lasts for a round. Dope. As a cantrip. Nice. As a reaction, you can... So you roll a performance check. You and the allies in the area can use the better result between your performance check and the saving throw. So basically, you can roll performance check and it can act as a saving throw if it was better. A saving throw roll for everybody. Cool. Dirge of Doom. Frighten foes in a 30-foot area for a round. Fatal Aria. You perform music so perfect that the target may die of joy or sorrow. The effect of the spell depends on the target's level and current hit points. If they are 16th level or lower, the target dies instantly. If they are 17th level, if they have 50 hit points or fewer, it dies instantly. Otherwise, it drops to 0 and becomes dying 1. 18th level, the target takes 50 damage. If this brings it to 0 hit points, it dies instantly. Wow. Okay. Crap. House of Imaginary Walls. You can mime a 10-foot by 10-foot stretch of wall adjacent to you and within your reach. The wall is solid to those creatures that don't disbelieve it, and even incorporeal creatures. You and your allies can voluntarily believe the wall exists to continue to treat it as solid. For instance, to climb onto it. A creature that disbelieves the illusion is temporarily immune to your House of Imaginary Walls for a minute. Wow. I mean, that's cool. It only lasts for a round, but I mean, that has some really interesting uses. Inspire competence. This counts as having taken sufficient preparatory actions to aid your ally on a skill check of your choice, regardless of the circumstances. And when you use the aid reaction, you can roll performance instead of the normal skill check. And if you roll a failure, you get a success instead. If you are legendary in performance, you automatically critically succeed. GM might rule that you can't use this ability if the act of encouraging your ally would interfere with the skill check, such as a check to sneak quietly or maintain a disguise. Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest gripes with bards, is that I always feel like I'm an asshole when I say, I'm really sorry, but like, you just encouraged the person. Like, I think I've made bards, if they try to like word their encouragement in a really specific way, I make them do a performance check to see what are the odds, and performance, or maybe deception. Probably deception versus insight in 5th edition. I've made them kind of roll to see, does the person you're like listening to you, do they understand that you're casting a spell and have kind of double meaning? But I like that they introduce, like, the GM has the right to say that you can't do this because it is verbal. Courage +1 stat bonus. Defense +1 to AC and saving throws. In 5e, that would be really huge. It seems like AC is so much more like, I mean, AC can climb so high in Pathfinder, it seems. Inspire Heroics. Basically, well, it's a free action. It basically just levels up your Inspire, Courage, or Defense. It's very cool. Wow. Very cool. Lingering Composition. Soothing Ballad. You can counteract fear, paralysis, or restore 78 hit points. All 7. Damn. You and up to 9 allies? And you can heighten it to increase to an additional 8. Wow, that's a lot of healing. Wow. Triple time. You dance at a lively tempo, speeding your allies' movement plus 10-foot stat bonus for a round. Very cool. Love these. Well, we will revisit this section for several other classes, it seems. Cool. I think that might be it for Bard. I'm going to quickly scroll through. Yeah. I think that's it for Bard. Cool. Yep. All right. That's it. Just a bit of a shorter video today, but we got through the Bard. We'll hopefully have several other videos looking to get through maybe the Champion and the Druid coming up really, really soon. We're going to do this for all of our classes here in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Hope you liked the video. If you did, why not hit the like button underneath the video. If you are interested in seeing more of this, you can subscribe to my channel and get notified whenever I post a new video in this series. Have questions or comment, feel free to leave a comment in the video. Or you can reach out to me on Twitter at ZachHall_. We'll be happy to talk all things RPG, D&D, Pathfinder, as I'm learning this rule set. I'm very excited about this system. And completely side note, I just started running the brand new Wizard of the Coast published adventure, Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. We just had our first session last night. If you would be interested in maybe some campaign notes, like just a quick hit of how I thought the session went, leave a comment below. Let me know if you'd be interested in that kind of material, more on the 5th edition side than the Pathfinder side. But I always record my sessions kind of like game tape, and also I like kind of messing with them as kind of a creative venture. So if you're interested, I might throw something together like that too, with maybe kind of bits and pieces of the sessions rolled in. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. See you next time